MamaTried. I'm Juliet, and today I'm going to be doing another toddler meal ideas video. I'm going to be doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so go ahead and make sure that you're subscribed with the bell notifications on, and go ahead and like this video because it really helps support my channel, and let's get started. We are going to start off with some breakfast. For breakfast today, we're having some banana oat muffins, and I'm just getting out all of my ingredients like I normally do to make sure that I have everything. Now I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees and spray a mini muffin pan with some olive oil or whatever kind of cooking spray that you have. That's just what I had on hand. Now I'm going to make my dry mixture for the oat muffins. So I'm just doing 3 cups of rolled oats. Now I'm adding half a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, I'm just going to stir all of that together. And then I decided that it needed a little bit more cinnamon because the recipe called for nutmeg and I didn't have any, so I just added some more cinnamon in there. Now I'm just going to mash up 2 bananas. They're supposed to be pretty ripe, but I thought that I had 2 ripe bananas and Luxi ate one, so I have 1 ripe and 1 not so ripe banana, but it worked out. Everything's fine. Just mash it up as best as you can, and whenever you start adding the other ingredients, it'll get easier to mash. I'm just adding in 2 large eggs to the banana mixture. I'm just going to mix everything very well. You don't want any chunky, funky pieces of eggs in these muffins. Just mix it up, girl. Just adding in 1/4 cup of pure maple syrup and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Stir, 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 and shake what your mama gave you, baby. The recipe calls for 1 cup of milk. I don't usually like cooking with regular dairy milk, so I just did almond milk. Do what you want, but this is what I prefer, and they turned out amazing. So if you're into almond milk, this is a 2 thumbs up from me. Now I'm just adding in 1/4 cup of melted coconut oil. Now, did you know you could buy it where it's already melted? It like blew my mind when I found this a while back, but just saying, it's so much easier. You don't have to melt it. And now, once again, stir, stir, stir. Now it's time to mix the wet and dry ingredients together, and of course make sure that you stir everything really well because you don't want some chunky, funky, nasty muffins. And then whenever you're done stirring that bad boy up, it's time to add in some chocolate chips. I did not have any mini chocolate chips, so I just used regular ones. Don't judge me. Luxi loved them. So just you do you, whatever you have on hand. You know, don't make a special trip to the grocery store for mini chocolate chips because no, we're moms. We don't have time for that. I bet you can't guess what I'm going to say now. Stir it up, girl. Time to put all of the mixture into the mini muffin pan. Now make sure that you spray it or you're using some silicone liners because we don't have time to be dealing with a burnt pan. We don't have time to be yanking those muffins out of the pan. We don't have time. Remember, we're moms. We don't have time for that. So I'm just putting everything in there. Now, since this is not rising at all, you can fill it up all the way to the top. It does not matter. So make sure that you're using all of your ingredients. I actually had more than I needed, so I made some bigger muffins. It made 3 big muffins and then 24 mini muffins. So it worked out perfect because then I got my muffins for breakfast time while Luxi had hers. Okay, now it's time to pop these bad boys in the oven. We're gonna bake these for about 30 minutes. And if you're bougie like me, you can tell your smartwatch, hey dude, I need a timer for 30 minutes. And really the perfect time was 32 minutes for my oven. I checked them at 30 and they weren't quite done. So 32 is what worked for me, and it had my house smelling amazing. You guys are going to be saying thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing this recipe because it's so good.
Bites. Ma'am. My cookie.
Now, you know, I can't help myself and I have to add in the little comments that Luxi makes sometimes because they're just so cute and I can't help it. But I'm just pairing these two muffins with some mandarin orange slices and some squished blueberries. I do still squish the blueberries and I probably will for a very long time, but now let's see what Luxi thinks.
Yummy.
You're welcome.
Yummy. Hot. 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 Every you.
So I started putting the toddler taste test portions in the video just to show you all that Luxi is eating the food and she really likes it. Like, I actually have a toddler and I'm feeding her these meals, but I've gotten a few, by a few, like a couple of comments about, wow, there's no way she eats all that, or wow, she eats too much, or something like that. But I just wanted to put the whole part of her eating to show you that yes, she does eat the majority of the food, if not all of the food. Usually she cleans her plate. And she is very happy, very healthy, and very loved, and we are doing just fine. So thank you for your concerns.
The chocolate.
That is chocolate. You like it? These are good for 3 days in the refrigerator and 3 months in the freezer. I like to make enough to put in the fridge for a couple of days and then I put the rest in the freezer, so that's why there's 2 containers. For lunch, I'm making some cheese and spinach quesadillas. I was actually really stumped on what to make for today, so I just looked in the fridge and this is what I came up with. But I'm just heating the tortillas up on a griddle. Now, if you don't have a griddle, you can use a skillet. It's just fine. This is just way easier for me to clean, so that's why I like to do it this way. I found these mini street taco tortillas at Walmart and I just thought that they'd be a perfect size for Luxi. I do all kinds of things with tortillas for her. It's just really simple and easy and she really likes them. So I'm just buttering each side of them and putting them on the griddle. Then I'm just going to flip it over and add the shredded cheese on top, and I'm just tearing up some spinach with my hands and putting it on top of the cheese. Make sure that you don't fill it up too much because then you can't fold it in half as well. So make sure that you're just putting just enough in there, not too much, because then the cheese will come out of the tortilla. So once I've done that, I just flip it over on the other side and make sure that it's cooked evenly. I also had an avocado and a lime in the fridge that I needed to use up, so I decided to make some makeshift guacamole. So I'm just using one whole avocado, and then I'm just getting the juice from one lime. And then I'm just going to add some sea salt in there. I didn't have any cilantro or tomato or anything else, so it's just a really, really simple guacamole, like avocado mix. And I just paired that on the side with the quesadillas. I also cut up some grapes into fourths, and let's see what Luxi thinks.
Mmm. Mmm.
You want me to show you how to eat the quesadilla?
Mmm.
Okay, so you get this right here, and you dip it in the guacamole. Take a bite. Cheese. Oh. You want to dip it,
Yes,
and then you take a bite. You can do it. You taste the cheese.
Mmm.
Is it good?
Mmm.
This really seemed to be one of Luxi's favorite meals, and it was one of mine too, and it really surprised me for a thrown together meal. But I also wanted to add that if you're interested in any of the products that are in this video, I will be linking them in the description, and always be sure to check out the description because sometimes I leave some goodies in there for you guys. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to dinner. So for dinner, we're having some taco pizza rolls. So I am just preheating my oven to 400 degrees and spraying a pan with some olive oil. Now I'm just going to be cooking up some ground beef. This recipe only called for half a pound of ground beef, but I'm just making the full pound because I'm going to use the rest for a salad or something later on. I'm just using my ground beef chopper thing. It just makes it a lot easier to cook it up. And this one's by OXO. If I can find the same one or one that's similar, I'll add it in the description for you. But I'm just cooking up that meat. While I'm waiting on the meat to brown, I'm just going to go ahead and mix the taco seasoning with water. I'm just following the back of the package. It's just your normal taco seasoning mix. I think I picked that up at Brookshire's. Once the majority of the meat is browned, I'm just going to add that seasoning in and let it simmer. Normally I would drain the fat, but there really wasn't any fat in this meat. It was just really good meat, I guess. So I'm just going to let that simmer until a lot of the seasoning has been soaked up into the meat. Once that's done simmering, I'm just going to set it to the side and I'm going to prepare my pizza crust. This is just the Pillsbury pizza crust, and I have some Mexican Kraft shredded cheese. I used to really like shredding my own cheese, but these days I'm always in a hurry and I really want to get back into the habit of shredding my own cheese. But anyways, we'll move on. Now I'm just using my rolling pin to roll the dough out so that way it's even. This is pretty much as good as it gets. I don't know why it's not even, but I did the best that I could. Okay, now I'm just going to spread half of that mixture onto the dough. Now it called for half of a pound, so please don't use a whole pound. It will not be good. So just use half, and I'm just kind of like sprinkling it on there, and then I'm just going to sprinkle the cheese on top and roll it up, and then I'm going to get a knife and just cut it. And I had to cut it pretty thick because if it was thin it would just kind of fall apart. So I just did the best that I could. This is the first time that I'm making this recipe and I really liked it, but there are some things that I would change, and that's why I'm telling you. So I would probably do this a little bit different, as in I would cut this in half and make smaller ones, because the thicker that they are, I feel like the easier they fall apart. So I just rolled it into one big one like the recipe said, and as you can see it's just kind of like funky. So that part didn't have anything in it because it was thicker on one side, and then if I did it thin they just kind of fell apart. So that's why I started cutting them thicker. So that's what I would recommend doing, and it worked out pretty well that way. But like I said, next go around I'm going to half the dough and make the rolls smaller so that way they don't fall apart like they kind of are here. Now as you can see with the end pieces that didn't have anything in them, I just kind of flattened it back out and made my own, because you know that your girl doesn't waste. Now I'm just going to go ahead and pop those in the oven for 10 minutes. When I took them out of the oven, they looked pretty good, but I felt like Luxi wouldn't think that they were too appetizing, so I decided to cut them out into hearts. So I just put them on the plate and added some blueberries and strawberries, and let's see what Luxi thinks.
Oh, wait. Oh, and yummy, 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 yummy. Mmm, yummy. Mmm. Happy. Oh, ooh, ooh, it's Mama. Ooh, ooh, big bites.
Take a big bite.
No.
You just take a little bite.
Yum, yum. 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 Yum.
You see they're in the shape of hearts.
Ooh.
All right, that's everything that I had for today's toddler meal idea video. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really helps support my channel, and also make sure that you're subscribed with the bell notifications on, so that way you don't miss any of my videos. And also be sure that you're following me over on Instagram. It's MamaTried Official. But that was everything for today. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have an awesome day. Bye.
Bye.